All right. Um, okay, so we have 40 whole minutes. I'm a little rusty on these whole video panel things because it's been about since COVID that I've actually run one. Um, so bear with me. We're gonna kind of begin a learning curve with this as we go through, but the intention here is to I'm just gonna be a moderator and just kind of give people the expert panel time to I'll pose a question, give you guys time to answer the question. And moderators, or sorry, experts don't feel like you have to answer every single question. If you want to chime in, great. If you want to tap out on that one, that's totally fine too. We just obviously are really thankful all of you guys have joined this call. Um, so just we got 40 minutes on here. Like I said, I just want to thank our four coaches on the expert panel for just volunteering their time, and all of our coaches who are participating in this. Whether you're a mentor or mentee, it's just really cool to see all of you guys come together for the betterment of basketball in our state. Really exciting times ahead for girls and boys basketball in our state. So the whole point of tonight's first video is just kind of practical strategies, what works, what doesn't work, things to watch for, and mentors. We really want to help these coaches kind of get their programs off the ground and running, whether they're taking over a program they're rebuilding or a program that is, a well-oiled machine and they're just making it their own. Um, First, I'd like to just introduce our panel. So we've got Derek Williams, Cardinal Ritter boys head coach, former assistant at Fishers. He was also city coach of the year last year. 35 years total experience, had some college experience at Eastern University and Wesleyan University. So, coach, thank you very much for being on here. Another coach we got is Aaron Garrett, Batesville boys head coach, three-time sectional champion and one-time regional champion, 29 total years of experience. On the girls' side, we got Holly Anson Eves, South Knox girls head coach, defending state champion,
Thank you.
three-time sectional champ, 12 total years of experience. Thank you, coach. And then Ray Davis, Mechanical girls head coach, former assistant at Grace, it's defending sectional champion. You said first time in 21 years. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Pretty awesome. And then he was also at Warsaw and show and the state appearance there and has 35 years of total experience. So we've got a lot of years of experience, a lot of championships that we've racked up amongst these four head coaches. So thank you guys all for donating your time to be here tonight. Certainly appreciate all you guys. I know it's a little crazy across the state with times and on Sunday, so I appreciate all of you guys being here.
Sure.
First thing we're going to tap into tonight is tryouts. So, on the girls' side, we're very close to getting into tryouts. On the boys' side, we're a little bit out. But I want to just kind of talk about as we're preparing for tryouts, preparing to begin our seasons. What are some things that you guys are looking to do in your tryouts? So, first question I have for you, experts, is how do you structure tryouts to get an honest evaluation of players in a short time period? So I will now turn it over to the experts, and you guys can just kind of jump in and answer as you like. And then anybody else, please feel free to pose questions. You can put them in the chat. You can raise your hand. We're happy to answer it. I just want this to kind of be a conversational flow.
Yeah.
And
I guess.
go ahead.
Oh, okay. I guess over the years, what I've done. Now recently, I probably haven't had as much where I had to do, cuts or whatever because of numbers of participation. But in the previous years as a head coach, and I've also used this with my middle school system. I give it to my coaches if they have to do this. I stole this years ago from Grace College men's coach, Coach Jim Kessler, where they have a skills test that they do at their camp to try and place people on teams. And what I've done is I've put all my players through this skills test, and they've known we'll do it in our camps. So then if I get down to like those maybe last two or three spots, I'm kind of figuring out, they're good kids in school. There's no way you can kind of separate them that way. I'll go to the skills. I'll go to my skills test and kind of see where they rate out at on that skills test. And it's actually been very beneficial when I had to do it when I was at WICTO, especially at the middle school level, because if a parent would come in and say, "Hey, why was my daughter, didn't make the team this year?" I actually was able to sit down and say, "Well, we looked at the skills test between these three people, and we had one spot left open, and we went strictly by skills at that point. But here's some areas where your daughter was maybe weak in that she can work on, and from now until next year, maybe to help her opportunity to make the team."
Hey, good stuff, Coach Davis. Thank you. First, Kaylee, thank you for doing this. I wish as a young coach, this would have been something that was offered in terms of just hearing from around the state, different ideas. Holly, congratulations on that state championship. That's
Thank
outstanding.
you. Thank you.
For me, it's an ongoing process, and it starts somewhat last spring, right? When we have those spring workouts. Definitely June. June, arguably, you could say is the most important. I know it's one of the busiest months of the entire basketball year because the season's a year-long process now. So I just look for, and as I look at your questions, I think availability is the most important ability. How are kids available mentally, physically? Are they showing up? And then are they doing those things that we look for, that we want, that we coach? And as far as when cuts are made and communication with players and parents, I just meet with every player. And haven't had very many cuts here lately. We'll have some cuts this year. I had a senior cut 2 years ago. A young man had 2 years to meet our standards, didn't meet those standards. We had to make that tough decision of short-term pain over long-term pain. And that was a blow up. But again, it was short-term pain. It wasn't another season of long-term pain. So I think it's evolving. It's a lot different than definitely when I played, or even as I was a young assistant coach, where you started. Gosh, when I played, you started in October, right? And you didn't see the players up until that time, and you really had to make some decisions. So we do have right, wrong, or indifferent that entire year. On their side, me and my staff, I run the middle school tryouts to identify those kids in middle school. So it's not those middle school coaches coming under fire from parents. We'll have at least usually half dozen coaches there between my middle school coaches and high school coaches to make those tough decisions. And then something new I tried this year, just to throw out to the group, with the way the IHSAA allows us to have those fall workouts. I did not go Labor Day week. I went 1 day a week those first 2 weeks. I've been 2 days a week since. I'll still have 2 days. We're on fall break this next week. The week we get back, I'll go 2 days. But then the 2 weeks leading into the season, I'll go 3 days those weeks to satisfy my 16 days. And we practice. I mean, fall is practice. So as fall sports end up and those teams join in. So depending on how football does, outside of football potential, I'll have all my guys for those 2 weeks leading into the season where we can get, quite frankly, 6 extra practices in that are still fall workouts. So with that, I'll throw it over to Holly or Coach Williams or Derek.
So, thank you guys again for having me. But really, honestly, I haven't had to deal with cuts very often, at the high school level. I think by that point, a lot of our kids have settled in, like we're a small school, so they've usually settled into the sports they want to play. But middle school, we did cut a couple years ago. Um, and what we did is kind of similar to a skills test and just kind of showed them what they were lacking and what we needed to improve on. And in elementary school, we do not cut. We just don't know who's going to be good come middle school and high school. So we will do A and B games. We're finding it hard to get B games right now, but we do continue to try to do those. But I agree 100%. When you start looking at kids, it starts in June. As soon as your season's almost over, you start again. So I agree with that 100%. And most of my kids buy into that, showing up and lifting 3 times a week. So by that point, I think by high school, they usually know what they want to commit to and how committed they are.
Yeah, I have to agree with all the other panelists here. It really does begin. I mean, we didn't create this environment of year-round sports, but that's just the reality of it is. I mean, we are evaluating year-round. I'm looking at all the kids from 7th and 8th grade. I have a 7th and 8th grade feeder program. So those are the levels that we don't cut at. because I don't know how they're going to grow. So we encourage them. I don't cut any freshmen. They get their last chance to play high school basketball as a freshman. But for JV and varsity, that's where the evaluation comes in for spring workouts, for June ball, like all those workouts go into it. And I do meet with all my parents. We have a preseason meeting for all of our winter sports. So that's the time I talk about the tough decisions. I don't like to cut seniors. So typically your cut will become as a junior. I've just found that from the very beginning, my high school coaches that mentored me taught me it's a lot easier to cut a junior as a senior. So I try to avoid that at all costs. When I do have to cut a senior, it's like the worst thing, but there are those times you have to do it for cultural reasons. And I always go with culture first. Culture overrides everything. I'll keep a culture kid over a talented kid if I know it's not going to disrupt my locker room. So typically you're not getting cut for talent. You're going to get cut because you don't fit our culture. I had to kind of stick to that principle.
That's really good stuff. Thank you. Thank all four of you guys for that stuff. I know you kind of all dabbled on, a little bit of the culture piece and the communication piece with the kids and parents and stuff like that. I guess I just want to ask those of you who are just on the call, are there any questions that you guys have about tryouts in general? Anything, any tips or tricks during tryouts? Anything that you guys would like to ask in regards to anything before we switch topics? Because I think there's some other things I'd like to get to.
I
Um,
do have, can I ask a question?
yeah.
To anybody that's out there, do you guys ever have like an open like practice day where parents come in and watch?
Mm.
I've kind of heard other coaches when you're on TikTok, they've talked about having parents come in and watch, kind of see the effort that's put through. I didn't know if anybody else did that. How did it work for you? Did it not?
I'd like to chime in for you. Nick Carruthers, Decatur Central High School, girls basketball.
Yeah.
We have an open practice after the team is made, but we have an open, like a parent meeting. That's the last hour of an open gym right at the beginning of our first 15 practices. Okay. Um, and we make that one of the hardest workouts right at the beginning. I always say that I try to get the right people on the bus
Mm-hmm.
before the bus gets going. So the workouts before the season are just as hard, if not harder, than that first week of tryouts to prepare kids to understand this is what it takes to play in this program. It's not fun for a lot of people, and what I found is the transparency with the parents and seeing their child struggle through whatever drills that we're doing or conditioning, um, they weed themselves out. The kids that really don't want it weed themselves out because between the weightlifting, the conditioning on the track, the running bleachers or heels or parachutes or whatever you're doing, coupled with the times that you're on the court and you're in drills and you're in small sided games or you're in full 5-on-5 or you're playing full court 1-on-1 and it's sink or swim and that parent is sitting right there, he or she'll know. He or she'll
Mm-hmm.
know. And that has kind of alleviated a lot of the why my daughter didn't make the team or why is she playing at this level. And then we continue once a month to have an open practice. And I make sure it's the hardest practice of that month. And I try to schedule it around obviously our schedule so we're not playing the game the next day. But to do that, that level of transparency, it just fixes not just who's playing or what team you're on, but playing time too. Uh, we
Right.
we stat practice, we post those stats in practice. I call them power rankings, and you're judged on a certain amount of categories. So not only does the parent get to walk in and see, like on parent teacher conference, where their kid is academically, they get to walk in and see where their kid is and stacks up athletically. And there's justifications for that ranking and the other sheets of what she did in whatever drills. And those drills are statted every single day by our managers and by our assistant coaches. So the level of transparency kind of have fixed a lot of that for me.
That's awesome. I've heard a lot of positive feedback from it. I just didn't know if anybody did that or not.
Coach, I do a practice on a Saturday morning where I invite the elementary teams, middle school teams, freshman teams, and parents. and they watch a varsity JV practice. And then I have the
Oh,
guys at the end address all the younger guys. And at the very end, we do an entire program huddle. Just so those guys hear some of the same things they see what's asked the older guys. So when their coaches ask them to do certain things, oh gosh, if so and so, the star that's a senior has to do work that hard and is asked to do those type of different drills and talk and those things, it's served us really well. It's one of my favorite practices. And like Coach said, not so much for the kids, but for the program.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like how you're incorporating the youth. I think that
Yeah.
kind of helps us segue into the next segment here. So, feeder systems. Um, our youth is our future, right? And so, I think all of us that were fortunate enough to walk into an established youth feeder system, that was very nice. That was a luxury, right? But a lot of you guys are either working with building it up yourself, putting something together. Some of you of the coaches on the panel, I'm sure you guys have been responsible for creating something in your town. So just kind of on that topic, experts, what are some effective ways to lay the foundation with your youth coaches? As we all know, that's just as important in teaching the fundamentals and the basics of your program to the youth. And kind of how do you get the youth involved and excited about your program and want to be a part of your program? I know on the girls' side, a pretty consistent challenge with a lot of coaches at smaller schools is numbers and competing
Hmm.
against kids specializing in sports way too young. It's just a modern issue that we have, right? And I know even some big schools are having that same battle. So experts just kind of speak on your youth programs and how you are successful in that realm.
I can lead off here. So what I did when I got to Cardinal Ritter, I kind of adopted the model we had at Fisher's, where we went out to all of our feeder schools and we made ourselves visibly present from the very beginning. This is who we are. We're the high school coaches. We want to invite you to our games. We make sure that they come to the games. Try and make them feel like they are part of the program, even though they're not actually in high school yet. So I have seventh and eighth grade in my building. So I'm very lucky with that. We have the CYO program that is run, but CYO is not competitive enough. So I took my best seventh and eighth graders and put them in some of the township leagues to get them exposed to the higher level of basketball. That had tremendous impact on our future players. And then I go to all the feeder schools. I'm at every game. I'm watching their games. I'm talking to the parents. I'm introducing myself, letting them know that I have an interest in their program and their development as well. I think everybody wants to feel special and feel like they're known now. I mean, I guess that's the word to put out there, because everybody thinks that their kid's the next Indiana All Star. So while we can't say that, we can at least treat them as special just because they're human and they want that special treatment. I do invite them to our practices, so they can watch our practices. We do have a coaching clinic where we go out and we invite them all to our practices. I will go out to some of the youth programs and actually, they ask me to come in for their tryouts and say, hey, coach, can you be here as a high school coach and evaluate for us? And so all those things help you build a feeder program and get the interest of the youth, in the high school program. And then when they do come to our games, we invite them in the locker room and see the pregame talk, see the pregame workout, have them walk through, how we're going to match up for the game and make them feel a part of that as well. And they sit behind the bench, for us as well.
Um,
Um, Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, the one thing that we've done since I've been this is my fourth year at my Conequal is the one thing we try to make sure is all of my coaches like a meeting like monthly as much as I can. I've been very fortunate. Out of my middle school coaches, I got my three head coaches. Two of them were actually former head coaches. So I've been very fortunate in that aspect. But we'll have coaches meeting, and then I have all my practice plans, all my drills are like on a Google Drive, and all my coaches have access to that, so they can. My middle school coaches can look at and see our practice plan for the whole week. Well, what are we doing? On the drills and stuff on that line. But the one thing also is how we get our girls excited. Is part of it is I'll make sure that I'll try and I'll go to our middle school volleyball games. And I've seen that since I've been there. Like they go, oh, Coach Davis is here. This is not a basketball. This is another activity. I'll try and if they happen to be in drama or band or something, I try and go see them in their other things that they like to do with that part of it. And then another thing we've done here is that we make sure at the beginning of the year that from our fifth grade up to our high school, we all have the same shooting shirts. So the middle school kids and the elementary kids that they're wearing the same shooting shirts that our varsity kids are wearing. So that makes them kind of feel special that way. And then when they come to our elementary night or junior high night, they see that the varsity kids are wearing the same shooting shirts. So that's something that we've done there. And we also make sure that we have them there on our what we call our pink out night, because we try and do that on our cancer night and get the middle school especially involved in that where they feel part of the program also.
Starting a program is very, very hard. So I don't, the most important thing I think would be to get coaches in the places that you want them and coaches that you can trust, and that think similar to you. Um, One thing that I do have my high school kids do, they do coach my third, second, and first grade teams. I feel like it helps build bonds, and those little kids love it. They love seeing those high school kids. Um, but I struggled when I first started coaching with my youth program just because it was hard to get people to buy into a new culture, and that things are going to be ran a little different than what it previously was. That you got to work hard, and it's hard work. Um, so yeah, I think the most important thing when you're starting from scratch or the bottom is to make sure you got people in the right places, that have the same beliefs and values you do, and the what you want your program to turn into. You want all those coaches representing that.
Kaylee, the coaches have covered it well, so I'll be very brief because I know we're getting behind our schedule here. But I'm interested to try one out. I heard at the think tank where I've got an in-house rec league. So third through sixth grade, we do a youth league. I'm going to have my players. I'm going to assign a player to each team, and on a Saturday we don't have a double weekend. I'm going to have them go sit on the bench of a youth league team and really pump them up, and so they get to sit by the young guys, get to see them, and our guys get exposed to them. But I would, if I was a brand new coach, especially the fall. I mean, there's some good clinics now in the fall with Coach Ballinger's Boar's Nest, Coach Moorhead went at Warsaw this fall. That was really good. The think tank at
Mm-hmm.
Bloomington. So as much as you can get around other coaches and pick brains and what works, what doesn't work, because what works at South Knox may not work in the city and vice versa. So just who's in a similar situation and how do they do it? So great question, and I'll let you move on now.
Good stuff. I think, yeah, I mean, feeder programs are everything, and create that continuity of your program and future successes. So thank you guys very much. I just got my little warning. I forgot since I started the meeting that 5 minutes early let everybody in that it officially started our clock ticking. So we got about 10 minutes here, but um, let me just do this. Like, does any one of the four of you guys have anything that's just a killer with fundraising? That's a good idea for someone, for a coach that's coming in trying to get things going. I know I started at $0 in my account when I came in. So, any of you guys have like just an awesome fundraiser you want to talk about?
This past summer after June, we did a banquet, and it was basically like donations from everybody, and then we had a big raffle, and we made quite a bit of money, off of that. But just, I remember doing tons and tons of fundraisers. Really tried everything. So I don't have one in particular that would get you started, but the banquet really helped us. And it was just community, just donating things. And then we had a live auction and a silent auction.
Awesome. Anybody else have a killer fundraiser you want to talk about?
I'll jump in real fast. It's not necessarily a fundraiser outside of golf outing. We're doing an alumni league.
Yeah.
But when I got the Batesville job, there had not been much research done in the tradition. So through that research, I started an alumni database as we started an alumni game. And now I just update alumni every 2, 3 games, every other week. But what that does, that sets the stage. If I really have an ask, I can put out to my alumni, and those dollars are raised pretty quickly because they have fond memories of the program. We're keeping them involved in the program. So that'd be my advice too. And then if your predecessor didn't do that, it's a way for you to kind of put another spin on the program that's not been seen before by the alumni.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right. I know I did just a simple one. What I learned through the years was that people don't want to actually buy things. They don't want cookies or candy or stupid crap. So, coaches, if you can find ways to bring value and money to your program, and make people feel a part of it, that's what I think is like, what Coach is saying here. We did a free throw-a-thon, and they can make bets with the kids, and I think Ella's on here now, so it really helps when you have like a 98% free throw shooter. That can help you raise funds. But anyway, that's just a fun, quick one that we did. Anything else before I switch gears? Any questions anybody's got on fundraisers?
Well, I did the one we're doing this year is first time. We kind of stole the activity. I don't know how it goes in at being, but we stole that the idea of I've seen teams do it like where they sponsor like a date sponsor. Someone gives $10 and like on a calendar, like whatever day 1 through day 30. Well, this year we're going to try it where we take our 22 regular season games. So that the girls are going to go out and try and find a sponsor for our 18th game. So that they can choose. They can give $18. Their name goes on that slot, or they can choose a combination of numbers to add up to 18. And then we're going to honor those people on if it's a home game, we're going to say, our sponsors are for this game are these people who have sponsored our players throughout that year. We're going to try that this year, something new that we kind of stole from like the sponsor, the calendar, right? Ours is going to be sponsored a regular season game.
Awesome. Love it. I'm going to merge two together. I'm going to do the parents. It's a lovely topic for us all, and culture. So just kind of merging those. We already kind of alluded to setting expectations early with parents with open practices, as we talked about, or with our parent meetings at the beginning of the year. I know I always used to do mine at the end of tryouts. Just bam, get in their faces, introduce myself, ask questions, answer questions, and familiarize them with the program if they weren't already. And then also, how does that fit into your culture? And as we all know, when you can get parents to buy in with your program, it makes all the difference in the world for sure. So, let's just take 3 minutes here on, actually, let's do 2 minutes. So maybe let me get two coaches, tell me about how you handle parents and how you work on culture.
I can talk fast. Involve them. Biggest mistake I made as a junior coach was keeping, and they're at arm's length a little bit, but it's not a straight arm away and knocking them out of the way. So, and I still have issues, right? We had an issue this spring, so it's gonna be interesting how this next season goes. But I'm not afraid to have crucial conversations. Anything I share with the guys, culture clips, tweets, quick articles, I send it out to the parents as well. So a lot of things that the guys get that we do before practice, after practice, that also gets sent out to parents because I would hope that none of my parents, as much as they don't like me or as much as they disagree with the decision to make, deep down, if they had to admit it, they know I love their kid. So I think that's the biggest thing as a parent. I may not love the parent, but I love the kid.
When I first started, I kept parents at far away, like he was saying, at an arm's length. But now, I've learned how to have those tough conversations, and I feel like I've grown like as a coach in that aspect. And I'll meet with my parents. The only thing I won't talk about is playing time. But I'll meet with them about anything. And like he said, they all know I love their kid. Sometimes they might not want to say that, but I hope they do.
I love that. I think the relationship piece is everything. Um, I don't
Hey,
want to
Kaylee,
glaze over
a
culture. I
line
think
I
it's so
stole,
important. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
a line I stole was, and again, because they're not going to agree with us because their vision's tainted because they love their kid so much, right?
Right.
But I tell them they love their kid. I get to love all the kids, right? And sometimes I think that garners at least some appreciation because we have to have those tough decisions. We're going to be some of the last truly truth tellers in their life. But it's not always easy. But I think that if you root it in love, when the crucial conversations have to come out, it's better received as well as it could be received
Hmm.
because they're still going to be saying it with the love of their kid, that's fair.
Mhm. Yeah, it's awesome. I hate to cut that short because I think culture and handling parents and everything is pretty much everything in what we do as coaches. So one last topic here, just again, just some quick hitters on practice planning. What are some routines and developments we got? Got about 2 minutes left, and I only need 30 seconds at the very end. So I'll let you guys take a minute 30 to kind of talk about your practice procedures.
We're consistent every day with our practice schedule. It's a format that they get before practice. They know what's going to happen. We start every practice the same way with warm ups, form shooting, fundamental stuff. We go into station work. We have we get them involved and go fast and hard so they know what that's coming. So there's no surprises in any of our practices. It might be routine, but we're just trying to build the habits for success. So we just keep it simple. We keep it moving fast, and we keep their minds sharp and laser focused throughout the entire practice.
Yep, I have to agree with that, Coach. The one thing that we implemented is all of our drills, everything. My managers are in charge of kind of keeping me on schedule, but also when we start a drill, the managers put the time up on the clock, so the players know, okay, if we're doing our fast break drill, we're doing it for 10 minutes,
Yep.
and so they kind of know what's expected out of that 10 minutes, and they know we go right to the next drill. It also has helped me not to prolong a drill if I need to go, I need to get over it and go to the very next drill because I don't want to spend too much time on something. So that's something that we've implemented. And my players every year, when they do their exit thing, they said that they've appreciated that the most in our practices. Just so they know what to expect each drill and how long it's going to be.
Quick hitter here, Holly or Aaron. Good.
Good
Okay.
too. Yep.
All right. Well,